It's been a little while since my last video, and there's a reason for that. I had a stereo EEG, and I think in my last video I still had a bandage on. Anyway, I'm all healed up now, which is good. The workup for epilepsy surgery, if you're fortunate enough, or unfortunate in a way, that means nothing else works. um, if you're fortunately unfortunate enough to be considered for epilepsy surgery, it comes with this caveat, and the caveat is no one can promise you anything. Excuse me. And until the end, ultimately, until surgery's done. So I had 13 days in hospital, and my biggest complaint wasn't the holes in my head. It wasn't healing of the wounds. It wasn't any of that. It was muscle wastage, and that I didn't realize the genuine impact, and it brought my thoughts to the people who had COVID and had to be intubated, and they would be intubated for maybe a couple of weeks, a few weeks if not longer. And then when they woke up, they had a full physical recovery. And I think, well, what's happened? Well, they've not moved for weeks on end. And we take that for granted. We take the ability to move for granted. But going back to epilepsy on a personal note, they think they can do something for me. Something surgical and something they've identified an area. And that's as much as I know. And I like people to think, we spend so much time talking about medications that work and don't work, and the availability of medications, that if you're someone like myself, I'm in my 40s now, that I've tried everything. There isn't anything else for me to try. So I either stay as I am now and have the quality of life that I have, and sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it isn't, or I try for something better. And I think every person with epilepsy who has a set of circumstances that seem as if they're just not getting any better, no matter what they try, is to try for something better. Advocate for yourself and say, is there a surgical option? Is there a new medication? Is there something different I can try? Because there's only so many times as a person with epilepsy you can hear the words, are you getting a good night's sleep? Are you stressed? Are you avoiding your triggers? Now, to be perfectly honest with you, my triggers are stress and lack of sleep. I have a child that does not sleep, and I have a stressful job. So I'm not going to quit my job, and I'm certainly not going to quit my family. So it's almost in my head, I can't do anymore. To make my life less stressful and less epileptic, I suppose. I wanted to talk about the seizure I had, big seizure I had in hospital, and it sort of went back to the very first seizure that I remember, and I believe is my first tonic-clonic seizure. I was 6 or 7 years old. I happened to be in my six years old. I happened to be in my parents' bed. I don't think I felt well. I must have felt it coming over. And I felt the seizure coming, and I could talk. And I called out. I called my mum or I called my dad, but I remember calling out. And I heard my dad say, "What's the matter?" Now, I was told that I remember doing this as well. when I was in hospital having my Sterio EEG on no medication, that I called out, I'm having a seizure, which is apparently unusual. But to me, it's normal. It's normal. It's normal to have a bit of warning. But I was already in the seizure. I was already in the seizure. But that's not the bit that I'm trying to emphasize. The bit I'm trying to emphasize is that it harked back to me being 6 years old, that really nothing's changed. And on that day, I was the same epileptic as I was as a 6-year-old boy who didn't know what was wrong with him, other than they know now more about my brain than they have ever known, and it's wonderful. But it was incredibly interesting to essentially reenact that first seizure I ever had, and I'll share that with my consultant when I see him in June. So yeah, I've had a few bad days seizure-wise since I've come out. My wounds took a while to heal, but it's kind of par for the course, really. And it was the one thing that sort of left me a bit grumpy, but thinking about it, now that it's all healed, I can get over that quite quickly. So I'll wait and see what they have to say to me in June. And hopefully they'll be able to say that they can take away the bit that's broken or take away the whole area. I wonder if they want me to be awake. Being awake, like 4 years ago, before COVID, I would have been terrified at the idea of being awake for a craniotomy. Now, I'm a bit more of a control freak, so I think, well, definitely I'll be awake. I'm more than happy to be awake. I'm not scared. I used to be scared. I'm not scared anymore. And I think that's because my situation got worse. But I'm not scared of my epilepsy anymore. And for some people, they don't have the opportunity to have fear, because that's just what it is. Your seizures are your seizures. But in my case, I have periods of time where things are okay, and I have periods of time where things really are just not safe. And yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say, but either way, we'll see what the prof has to say in June, and actually both my surgeon and my neurologist in June, and I'll tell them I'm not scared anymore. I was more than happy for them to poke and prod as much as they like. Anyway, it's nice talking to you. Take care.